FM.
All right, thank you so much for tuning in and still standing right there with us. We have AJ, the SSA to Presidency, Ajuri. We are glad to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Kike. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajuri. How are you today, being the special advisor to President? Bring us to speed on the economic stimulus plan and what exactly is all about.
Thank you so much. Well, so much has been done in terms of the direct interventions, the palliatives, the social investment, expansion of the social register from 2.6 million households, that's 11 million Nigerians, to about 3.6 million households, that's between 14 and 15 million Nigerians. Now, at the policy level, as you referred to, we're now looking at what we can do right now to prepare the nation for the post-COVID-19 era. We have said to our people that there is opportunity in crisis, but it's important for our people to understand what that means in the context of what we're doing. The President President Muhammadu Buhari put together the Economic Sustainability Committee chaired by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo. That committee has all of the economic leaders in the country. You have the CBN Governor, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, NNPC, GMD, and several ministers in critical ministries, Minister of Works, Transportation, Agriculture, Education, Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and the like. The reason why all of this is important is because you have one central hub where all of the activities can be synergized in a cohesive and in cogent plan that's robust. Each ministry is being and projects and activities within their respective NDAs that have the highest job creation capacity. Now, what we're doing is in all of this, and I'll start from education just to use as a case in point.
Yeah,
we are going to put together a massive fund, well over R1 trillion, that is going to support the creation of tens of millions of jobs. The plan will eventually come out, and when it does, we're going to give all the details across sectors, where the jobs will be found, who will be employed, how they get involved, and all of that.
All right, AJ, listening to you now, what jobs are being created aside education that you mentioned? What is the sustainability of these jobs in the first place, and what of the jobs that were before the pandemic, and to those who have lost their jobs due to this pandemic?
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, you have a situation where you have a very temporary halt in economic activity as a result of the lockdowns. We all know that. Those who have lost their jobs, certainly when the economy picks back up, particularly those who have been in sectors that have been hard hit by COVID-19, that's agriculture, oil and gas, hospitality, tourism, especially aviation. They have access to massive zero interest facilities from the central bank to make sure that they can also minimize their losses as well. But in addition to all of that, it's extremely important for us to create jobs that are going to be sustainable. So what we're doing is we are saying that as the ministers have come to sit down in the committee, it's the issue of how we get Nigerians to rebuild this country. Nigerian feet, Nigerian hands, and Nigerian minds to rebuild this country across sectors. We are now saying that instead of the usual approach where you get a lot of foreign contractors involved, the Julius Bergers of the world and all of that, we are going to prioritize indigenous contractors on a massive scale across sectors. Now, in terms of education, as you referred to, you have a situation where we have an opportunity now to revolutionize the education sector from the bottom to the top. How are we going to do that? We're going to retrain our teachers in digital literacy so that when we give them the technology that they're going to be using to train our children and prepare our children with the knowledge for the knowledge-based global economy, using new ICT laboratories that we're going to construct. We're going to refurbish primary and secondary education infrastructure in conjunction with the state governments who are responsible.
All right, AJ, thank you so much for that. We will go on a quick break and return after headline news. But first, a word from our sponsors. Do not touch that down and hang him then, AJ. Join you soon. Mr. Ajuri, thanks for staying with us. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging in there. So, timely responses in crisis is always critical. If the police arrive at a scene, AJ, of robbery a minute late, sometimes it costs lives. You were on the show earlier this month and telling us about the economic approach. Why is the government yet to arrive even after 2 months of the deep scorching effect of the pandemic?
Well, thank you very much. You know, the president in his address on Monday was very, very clear that he is very empathetic to the situation, the frustration of some Nigerians who have not yet received the direct interventions. As you know, we have been moving around the country, and it really hasn't been 2 months. It's really been about a month and maybe a week since we really started these direct interventions and all of that. So for us, we have made a lot of progress since then in terms of getting the spread across the country. You know, since then, the situation is not static, it's dynamic and it's evolving. So you have a situation where COVID-19 that was just in predominantly 10 states before is now gone into about 30 states or so. So we have a lot of work cut out for us in terms of working with the state government in order to get those direct interventions and palliatives down to the ward level. And unfortunately, we have not in every state had 100% collaboration from some state governments, and that reflects in the lack of availability of some of the palliatives at the ward level, unfortunately. So these are some of the challenges we're dealing with. We're being very open with our people about it. We're going to continue to improve.
All right. Oh, we lost that call. AJ, we have loads of calls coming in. I just didn't want to interject to while you were trying to drive your point home. But quickly, we had the executive chairman of SUBEB on the show, and we just discussed the COVID-19 with SUBEB chairman of Lagos State. And what quarter of this stimulus plan will be channeled to education sector, if I may ask?
Yeah, that's a major part of it, which is what I was describing when I said we're doing a full refurbish of the sector, not just in terms of the theoretical, but the practical, not just the curricula, but the infrastructure, to create an ICT backbone for education that has never existed in this country. That is going to be a capital-intensive program that is going to be part of what we're doing now. And not only are we doing that, because we are now focused, because of the knowledge-based global economy and the need to have skills and not just a piece of paper, a certificate. We are now also looking at options that are outside of the usual 4-year degree path.
All right.
We're going to build vocational training centers in all local government areas as part of the Ministry of Education's
all right. Hello, AJ. We have a caller on the line. AJ, please kindly hold your thoughts. We have another caller on the line. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, my name is Sebastian, calling from Lagos.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so my question for the SSA to the president, very simple.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of the number of job loss so far? Do you have a record of that? Do you have an idea of, the president says we had 2.6 million households captured initially, and now there's going to be 3.6 million households, additional 1 million households added. Now you come on air and tell us we have about 16 million people captured. Do we have an idea how these statistics work? How do you move from...
Yes.
What is the makeup of the household? What is the makeup of the numbers that constitute each of the household?
Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah, AJ.
Yes, I would like to address this very carefully because it's very important that our people understand that the National Social Register is targeted predominantly at the rural poor. Those are the unbanked Nigerians that do not have BVNs, do not have bank accounts, do not have cellular phones. We need to reach those people. How do we do that? We built that register on the basis of principles given to us by the World Bank. It's all in collaboration with the World Bank, called community-based targeting. You know, a big part of our funding, it comes from multilateral institutions like the World Bank. So when they give us funds, they give us a monitoring and evaluation conditions to ensure that they are tracking the use of those funds, which is why you have seen this administration win international awards for transparency in the conduct of the social investment programs. For us, it's a matter of deepening that. I want to be very clear about something. What we're going into right now is separate from even the National Social Register. That is just for predominantly the rural poor. We have a major, ambitious urban poor program that is going to touch between 30 million and 60 million urban poor individuals in this country. How are we going to do that? The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs is working with the telecoms companies under the regulation of the NCC to identify those individuals who, over the last 4 months, even before COVID-19 hit, had consistently topped up their recharge card of 20 Naira, of 40 Naira, 50 Naira, under 100 Naira consistently.
Really, AJ?
By those individuals. Yes. That is going on. In addition to that, my sister, just to be very clear, we are working with the deposit money banks through use of EVN to identify who, over the last 4 months, have consistently had under 5,000 Naira in their bank account.
Hello?
And these are the individuals that are going to receive digital
Hello?
payments.
Hello, AJ. Hold your thoughts, please. We have a caller on the line. Hello?
Okay. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Oh, I'm Sheson. I'm calling from London.
Okay, what's your contribution today?
Yeah, please. Basically, I need to ask a question from the SSA to the president.
Go ahead.
I heard about the Siemens deal and the situation of things now. I just want to confirm if the deal will still go on. The situation of things now. And
great question.
Secondly, I know federal government have been trying before this palliative, and let's be sincere with ourselves. A country without no database is zero. Nothing we can do. Database is just like a foundation. I'm just putting this.
All right, thank you for that. I got your message. AJ, quickly.
So the first point. First of all, let me just say we need much more time to really thrash out these issues. There's so much to talk about here. But let me just get to the Siemens deal. To answer my brother's question, we have already made the payment, full payment, direct from the Federation account to the authorities in Germany. You know it's being paid by the German Export Credit Agency, being paid direct to Siemens. We have totally gone around the usual Nigerian bureaucratic process that usually it gets involved with diversion and people trying to extort people and all of that. We've removed all of that from the process. We have already paid the Germans, so that is not a problem. It is going to go ahead. For us, we're just now waiting for the Germans to now come into the country with the infrastructure. Obviously, COVID-19 has slowed that down a little bit, but we are still very much on course. The other question I think that he raised is the issue of how we are building the social investment infrastructure. For us, we are doing what is unprecedented, not just in Nigerian history, but in African history. Nothing of this scale has ever been done before. And this administration started it, and it is building on it. And by the time we're done with this urban poor program, you're not going to need to, think of what Ajuri Ngelale is saying. When you have between 30 and 60 million urban poor individuals getting alert every 6 months, every month for the next 6 months until the post-COVID-19 era, you will know that something has changed in this country, and we're looking out for the.
All right, but AJ, let's be honest with ourselves here, because I know that implementation strategy.
All of this is honest.
Yes, I agree with. Yes, thank you. Implementation strategies have always been criticized in Nigeria, and part of the criticism is that local governments are sometimes marginalized or isolated from this plan. What is the situation in this case?
Well, no, it's a very important question, actually. It's ironic that it was President Muhammadu Buhari that changed the guidelines of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit that ensured that local governments, for the first time in our history since 1999, are receiving funds direct from the Federation account. We have removed local government money from the state governments, and we're paying them directly so that they can offer goods and services to our people directly. That's what this president has done. Now, in terms of what we can do with social investment with the local governments, it's extremely important that they key into it. In fact, as part of the Economic Sustainability Committee planning, we are getting ready to make federal interventions even in local government and state government roads that we have identified as critical, as linking farmers to markets and industries to very strategic ports in the country. All of that is involved. So what you now have, and the strategic nature of having the vice president as the chairman of the committee, is that he's also the chairman of the National Economic Council.
I understand that. I understand that, but AJ, I am yet to see one single person who has received a lot from the federal government palliative. Are we being deluded? Because the corruption factor is superseding everything, to be honest.
Yes, Kike, we cannot misinform our people. The Urban Poor Program, which is the digital payments we're talking about, they have not started. Okay. They have not started. So we're not pretending that something has been done that has not been done.
All right, thank you for clarifying that.
The process of formulating that. What we have started is the physical cash under the National Social Register. That is the conditional cash transfer program all across the states of this country. You have seen it.
Yes.
So for us, we're working out the modalities of the Urban Poor Program so that we can start the payments in earnest. But it's not something that you can rush because you're dealing with a quantum that has never been done.
All right, we have a caller on the line. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Please, in 30 seconds, what's your name and where you calling from? Please go ahead.
My name is Daniel Salvon.
Okay.
I'm calling from Ikeja.
All right.
I commend federal government for distributing money direct to the local government. But my concern is that money that they say they are sharing to millions of people that do not update their account for social years, people that do not have BVN that they are giving them. We are only hearing grammar from them. They will just speak on air and we will clear our chance and go their way.
All right, thank you so much for that. AJ, back to you.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the point my brother was making, other than to say that he doesn't seem to believe that government is doing well. I think that's what he was trying to say.
All right, so this will be my last question to you. A number of sectors serve as stimulus sectors, such as agriculture, power, crude oil, and some are indispensable, such as security and education. What is the allocation formula for the economic stimulus package? In 1 minute, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So first of all, that I have already been very clear that it's going to be well north of 1 trillion naira. It's a mega plan. It has never been seen before. So for us, we're fine tuning. We're making sure that those things that are going to lead to direct, sustainable employment for tens of millions of our people are prioritized. In terms of agriculture, we have 10 million jobs within the plan for agriculture. That involves massive land clearing and cultivation across the country, not just in the north or the west, but even in the south, the southeast, and the middle belt, to ensure that we prepare our lands for the cultivation of value chains that we have not yet tapped into, like beef, millet, dairy, for example, and several others that we have not yet tapped into. So that's a major component of the program. The other one I just want to mention before I go is the National Special Public Works Program. As you're aware, 1,000 young Nigerians are being recruited from every single local government area of this country. That is 774,000 young Nigerians, so that there's equity of distribution of benefit process of building this country in terms of road rehabilitation, irrigation, construction for agriculture, extension services for farmers, for the healthcare industry, in addition to social housing construction across the country. All of that is involved with this plan, and I have not even touched 30% of what the plan contains. We need more time to discuss.
Definitely, I'm going to bring you back. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today with first-class information from the presidency office. And thanks for honoring our invitation as always. Thank you so much, AJ. So I will definitely have you back next week or in 2 weeks' time, probably. So thank you so much.